Guys, today we're looking at dotted eighth notes. Alright, so I have some cliches here that incorporate a dotted eighth note. If you remember a dotted note, I'll just recap quickly. So let's say we had 4 beats. Alright, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So like 1, 2, 3, 4. If I gave you a half note, a half note is going to take up half of the measure. So it'd be like these two boxes here. So thumb, right? But if I add a dot, this dot is going to extend the length of the note, and this dot is going to be equal to half of the note in question. So this is a half note. So this dot would extend this half note by a quarter, because half of a half is 2 quarters. So this would extend it actually to this box. So 3 boxes, and we know that we want our measure to be complete, so we could just put a quarter rest here. So this dot would create this kind of feel. So 3, 4, rest. Right? So it's going to be the same concept with these dotted eighths, but so we've got our eighth here. When we add a dot here, it's going to be worth half of the eighth, which would be a 16th. Alright, so that would look something like this. I'm going to draw a box. This box is equivalent to 1 beat. So we usually have 4 of these in a measure. But just for learning purposes, let's cut this box into 4 to show the 4/16ths that we could have. So now each one of these boxes will be like a 16th. If we take ourselves an eighth, we put the eighth here. We know that this eighth is going to take up 2 of these boxes. Yeah, because in 1 beat we have like a quarter note. If we chop it in half, we've got an eighth. So you could put an eighth here and an eighth here, and that would complete it. So let's erase this blue line. Okay. Now we know if we put a dot here, that's going to be equivalent to a 16th. So the next available 16th slot would be this box. So now we can erase this line. So we've got an eighth note plus a 16th. So that takes up 3 quarters of the bar here. And then we've got one more 16th space where we could put a 16th note, or we could put a 16th rest. Yep, either option, but that's your only options. Okay, so let's start looking at some of these cliches. Alright, so our very first one was basically that same example here. So we've got an eighth with a dot, so that adds a 16th to the length. And at the end, our last 16th of the beat, we have a 16th note. So that would sound like this. 3, 4, da, da. Alright, so here I have 1 beat of the measure, and we have cut it into its 4/16ths. So our first note here, we're going to have an eighth note with the 16th note dot, so that's going to take up 3 quarters of this beat. So 3/16ths worth of this beat in this note, and then we've got our last note here, the 16th. So that would sound like this. So 3, 4, da, 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 da. So da, da. I'll loop it. Da, 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 da. So So just doing it how we've been doing it. So 3, 4. Da 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 da. Yeah. Okay. Let's look at this next one. Basically the same. Just switched. So this would be a 16th, which would get this box here. And then we've got a dotted eighth note, which would occupy these 3 16th boxes here. So this would sound like this. Da 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 da. 3, 4. Da 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 da, or da 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 da. Alright, now we've got this guy here. We've got a 16th note rest, which would get our 16th box here. Then we've got an 8th note dotted, so that's going to add a 16th to its value. So that would take up these 3 boxes here. So that would just be like resta, resta, or resta, 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 resta. Yep. Okay, we've got the same thing here, just inverted. So we've got a dotted 8th note with a 16th note dot. Let's extend it to 3 16ths, and we got our 16th note rest here. So that would sound like this. So da, resta, 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 rest. So da, resta, resta, rest. Da, resta, 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 da, da, da. Yep. So we got a 16th note with an 8th note dotted rest. Okay, so same thing. We've got our 16th note. That'll occupy this first 16th box here. And then we've got our 8th note, a dotted 8th note rest, which will take up the 3 boxes just as a dotted 8th note would be. Alright, so this would be like da, 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 da. Now this can sound, I mean, it's a little confusing because that almost sounds like an 8th note, like da, da, and it almost sounds like a quarter note, da, but notice how short it is. Da, 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 da. Alright, so it's just like a little guy. Alright, and then same thing here, but just inverted. So we've got a dotted 8th note rest, which will take up these 3 boxes, and you'll have your 16th note occupying the last box here. So it would look like this. So da, 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 da. This one's kind of strange. Okay, there's your explanation for dotted 8th notes. Let's have a dictation.